tomorrow, I leave New York City to head down to New Orleans. In fact, by the time that you're watching this video, more than likely, I'm already there celebrating the Mardi Gras. So in order for me to get myself in the mood, I thought that I would create a video about something that I'm going to be drinking a lot of down in New Orleans, daiquiris. Today's sponsor is Titulia. You can learn more about Titulia online at titulia.com. Titulia has sponsored a bunch of episodes of WTF, and today's actually their last episode with us. Big thanks to Titulia for all of the episodes that you guys have sponsored. We have loved using your teas. But for those of you who have not learned about Titulia yet, Titulia is an artisanal tea company. They produce a bunch of different varieties of tea. A lot of them are loose, some of them come in packets, and they come in a whole array of flavors. They're produced naturally, organically, and they're some of the best teas that you can get your hands on. We have used teas both in cooking as well as in baking and also in drinks. Today we're actually going to not just brew tea, but we're going to use tea in making an alcoholic beverage, the daiquiri, but not the type that you might see, at a football game or in New Orleans, the original version of a drink. Anyway, check out Titulia online at titulia.com. Get your hands on some of their teas today. All right, so we're talking about the daiquiri, and I'm not really talking about the frozen stuff that I'm going to be drinking on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. I'm really talking about daiquiris at large, if you will. And a daiquiri is really a whole family of cocktails in the way that a toddy is, or actually a cocktail is. There are simply 3 ingredients in the daiquiri: lime juice, sugar of some sort, and rum. A little bit of history to whet your palate. It is believed that the daiquiri traces back to the 19th century and was made by an American who was actually working in Cuba as an engineer. Some people say, well, maybe not really, because there's this other drink called grog that British soldiers were drinking while they were hanging around in the Caribbean. As you guys know, the Brits had a lot of islands in the Caribbean under their control, which meant that they had access to rum, so it was very likely that they were mixing rum with some sugar and acid, because lime juice grows there just as abundantly as the limes grow there, and it's quite possible that they were drinking a drink like this. And then in the 1940s, the United States passed the Good Neighbor Act, which allowed for better trade with Cuba and with Latin American countries. This, paired with the fact that whiskey and vodka were a bit of a scarcity at the time, allowed for more rum to come into the country and the taste of daiquiri to sort of develop on people's palates. And which people, you might ask? Well, important people like you and me, and also John F. Kennedy and the great Ernest Hemingway, who even had his own variation of the drink called the Papa Doble. He had the bartenders remove the sugar that you normally use in the drink and instead add some maraschino cherry liqueur, the kind where you take the cherry and then you try and make the knot with your lips and your mouth and your tongue, and also some grapefruit juice. Today we are going to make a slight variation to the classic cocktail. We're going to infuse the simple syrup that we're going to make with some tea. In a pot, add 1 cup of water and 1.5 cups of sugar. Add some loose tea and bring this to a boil. I'm using Titulia's Earl Grey tea for this recipe, but you can use your favorite tea. After it's come to a boil, take it off the heat and let it cool for about 5 to 10 minutes, then pour it through a strainer and reserve the sweet liquid. And now, providing that you also have some lime juice and rum, we will assemble the cocktail. Start off by chilling a glass by putting some ice cubes and water inside of the glass. Traditionally, you should use a fluted glass for this drink. I don't have one, and I don't really like them, so I'm using a rocks glass instead. In a shaker, add a bunch of ice, 2 ounces of white rum, 1 ounce of simple syrup, and about 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Then seal and shake, shake, shake until your beverage is nice and cold. Then simply strain the liquid out into your chilled glass, discarding the ice, and enjoy. And that is how to make a daiquiri. Daiquiris are appropriate to drink whenever alcohol is appropriate to drink, so family functions, parties, funerals, etc. Try this, let me know what you think of it. Be sure to check out our sponsor, titulia.com. Post a comment, post this to this new thing called Pinterest, just learn about it. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your enemies, and I'll see you next week.